But I don't know how you will deal with that because you're talking really about a company that is in distress.
Understood.
So somebody's going to have to work out how that is going to happen. But generally, the payments would be there if the thing is set up properly and if the pension rules are being followed. It's there for the employee. But insofar as severance is concerned, insofar as if you decided, for example, to do a voluntary separation, those payments are usually done. So I think that the issue is being somehow the other mask. I'm not sure what the exact issue is, but even in terms of the current conversation about Mittal, the Minister of Finance has basically said that the pension is properly funded and it's available. So one is not sure exactly
So
what that decision is.
It is 12 o'clock, top of the hour. We actually started the pot a little late for my guests, so we'll extend brunch by about a quick 10 minutes because I want to get clarity from you. And my guest, of course, is esteemed Conrad Enil. We're really happy to have him here as we have been before. This area of unemployment fund, I know in Trinidad we have a food card and disability options and stuff like that available. Explain how feasible an unemployment fund would be. I know it would cost more from the individual, from workers, because you've got to put a tax there for that. Is that something we should be looking at?
We already have something called an unemployment levy, and that levy is used to fund the unemployment relief program. That is how that is currently used. Now, there has been a view expressed that we should get to the stage where instead of putting it in that manner, we should actually treat with it in the same way that's done, I think, in England, as a dole, where if you're unemployed, you come and you get paid.
Which is not dissimilar from the United States. That's exactly to what I was referring to. Yes.
So we have not used that model because in a very real way, when it was conceptualized, it really was intended for those in our society who the private sector and other agencies will not employ. And it was set up to a very large extent to deal with those who may have ran afoul of the law and who coming back into society would need some kind of
a reincorporation fund, as it were.
So that's how that was set up. But I think that as we move forward, there must be consideration, I think, given to that kind of mechanism because in many instances, the URP program it's not one size fits all. And therefore, for those who are, for example, in managerial type employment who have lost their jobs, I don't know that you can actually put them in the URP. But I do feel that there's a requirement to give them some support, and that might be a way to do it. So I support that.
There's some credence in going about an unemployment fund used in that model. Penultimate question for you. With the amount of people we anticipate will be thrown on the bread line, contributions to the NIB, of course, will be impacted. Do you see that running into a situation where benefits or anything like this being reduced becomes an option, becomes a reality?
The whole social infrastructure mechanisms, in my view, must be relooked at because there's an issue with payouts and there's an issue with money going in. And the way that it has been resolved in recent times has been based on increases in the contribution rates. But even those increases in the contribution rates, I think, will not meet the gap based on the demographics as we see it. So I think that because you have more payouts and more people, it is very possible that benefits will have to be reduced. And therefore people will have to live on less. But I think that that will simply be part of what they have to do. They would have to find other mechanisms of earning income.
In a real sense, do you think the nation has come to terms with what we are talking about here? There are many who believe that this is cyclical and it will be over in 2, maybe 3 years. Some folks hold on very tightly to the prediction of the World Bank and a number of other international financial organizations who believe that oil will in fact rebound. But from what Dr. Terence Farrell is saying, from what you yourself articulated a whole while ago, we may not be getting out of this wearing the same clothing. We have to indeed reduce the number of the overcoats and go down to bare barrel almost for the long run. Is that accurate?
Let me put it this way. I think that the decisions that we need to make, we have been deferring them. And the decisions that we needed to make was to make sure that our expenditure profile mirrored our revenue stream. Mm-hmm. And we gambled that the price of oil and gas will continue to escalate, and it didn't. We've lost. Mm-hmm. As a result of losing that gamble, and we've gambled because of, in my view, policy positions that reflected increases in oil and gas, which didn't happen. As a result of that, we have to take the decisions now to correct the problems that exist as a result of not taking the decisions earlier. The longer we take to correct the situation is the more pain we would have down the road. So I think that right now we have to recognize that there is an issue. We have to figure out how we would reduce the impact on citizens who are unable or unwilling, and we simply have to move forward.
It's going to be a long haul and a not unlivable, but surely a difficult haul, and even more so difficult for those who refuse to change the habits. And at the end of the day, that is what a lot of folks are saying. Trinidadians have not exhibited a disposition to do the change because, it is happening somewhere else, but not with me. And let the changes take place over there, but not with me.
Yes, and I think the one difference that we are facing today, and it's something that we've grown accustomed to, where we've said that there needs to be change, and then all of a sudden something happens in the external environment, and the conditions change, and we believe that somehow or the other it doesn't apply to us. I think that in these circumstances, what Dr. Farrell and others are saying is that even if the external environment changes, we are still in for a difficult time because the external environment will not help us in the short to medium term because of some of the decisions that we have taken, which we now have to treat with. And I'm saying that unless we go and reverse those decisions or we negotiate with the companies to reduce the impact of those decisions, then I'm afraid that we are going to have to face this particular issue. And the results, in my view, could be a little bit difficult for most people.
But in the immediate term, is it fair to say that you are in concurrence with the Minister of Finance vis-a-vis the Internet tax one and pulling down the stabilization fund?
I would not have done that.
Which one of them?
Well, I would not have done any. I would have done something else. But thankfully, I don't have those decisions to make. And I guess that he would make the best decisions that he thinks possible. But I think that there are other areas that he could have looked at, and there are other things that he could have done, which would have impacted productivity and efficiencies differently. And I think that hopefully he will get there at some point in time.
Well, as you said, the office holder, we will give the benefit of the doubt and take the time because he sits in a chair.
Absolutely.
Conrad Enil, as always, thank you so much. Continue with your lecturing and your teaching, and continue to answer my telephone calls. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Have yourself a good week ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. You've been enjoying Brunch, and I trust that you did, in fact, enjoy it, and I hope that you found along the way some elucidation. I certainly do every time I sit with my guests, whom I thank right now, Dr. Dexter Morgan and Dr. Sandra Surabjet, both coming in from the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Also, thank you to Yanis Ibrahim, the president of the Supermarkets Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and my last guest, Conrad Enil. You have yourself a wonderful week. Join me tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock until 9 for the morning show here at 107.7. Join us again next week as we continue our discussion in Brunch. We should have I shouldn't tell them the guest now. Should have a major surprise for you. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much.